My fiance's ex messaged me at 2:14 a.m. She told you I was dead to her, right? She's in my bed right now. I didn't answer. I just booked a flight. Landed. Knocked on his door. She opened it. Didn't even flinch. Just said, "You weren't supposed to find out like this." I wasn't even fully asleep yet. Just lying there, lights off, half scrolling through nothing when my phone lit up. I expected a meme. Maybe a work notification. But what I saw hit me like a fist straight to the chest. She told you I was dead to her, right? She's in my bed right now. No name. Just a number I didn't know. I sat up, blinking, reading it again. It didn't make sense at first. Not because I didn't believe it. No, the problem was that it made too much sense. The wording, the timing, the nerve. I knew exactly who sent it. The ex. The one she promised was ancient history. The one she said used to mess with her head and that she was ashamed she ever dated. I didn't reply. What the hell was I going to say? I just stared at the message while my pulse thudded in my neck. Then I opened her last message to me, 4 hours ago. Made it to the hotel. Conference starts early tomorrow. She'd said she was in Boston. But that number? It wasn't Massachusetts. I recognized it. Her ex lived in Colorado. And my brain started spinning. Last year, during one of her rants about him, she told me he still lived in that crappy rental house on Elm Street. Back then, I didn't think much of it. But now I opened Instagram and searched through one of his old bandmates' tagged photos. And there it was, a birthday barbecue from 2 weeks ago. Same street, same house. A blurry corner of the address number showed through. I got up, opened my laptop, and booked a flight. First one out. 6:05 a.m. Direct. One way. I didn't pack much. Just enough to not look suspicious at the airport. I didn't tell anyone. Not even my brother, who lived 15 minutes away. I couldn't talk without something breaking inside my voice. She had no idea I was coming. By the time the plane landed, I hadn't slept. Not even for 5 minutes. I just kept going over the details. The lies. All the times she said she was too tired to talk. All the times I offered to come visit her when she traveled for work, and she said it would stress her out. The nights I stayed home while she went to clear her head. I got in a cab, told the driver the address. He didn't ask questions. The house was only 15 minutes away from the airport. Neighborhood was exactly how she described it. Small yards, old porches, curtains that didn't fully close. I got out. Didn't hesitate. Walked straight up and knocked. She opened the door like she'd been standing right behind it. No panic. No guilt. She looked at me like I'd just returned from the store, not flown across the country to catch her. "You weren't supposed to find out like this," she said. That's it. That's what came out of her mouth. Not, "What are you doing here?" or "I can explain," or even a fake tear. Just that. Cold. Flat. Like the reveal was the problem, not the act. She didn't move from the doorway. Behind her, I could hear a TV playing. I saw a half-drunk glass of whiskey on the counter. And a hoodie I thought she lost, the gray one with the ripped collar, was hanging on a kitchen chair. There was a pair of men's boots by the front door. Not mine. I didn't try to push inside. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask her anything. I just turned around and walked back to the curb. She didn't follow. I sat on a bench outside a gas station for almost an hour, just staring at my hands, trying to feel something solid. There was no fight, no explosion, no drama. Just this eerie emptiness, like someone had cut my spine and I hadn't figured it out yet. I should have called someone. But what would I say? What hit me hardest wasn't even the betrayal. It was the way she looked at me. Not surprised, not scared. Just inconvenienced. Like I was early for an appointment she planned to cancel anyway. I ended up checking into a cheap hotel near the airport. Same chain we stayed in during our first road trip. That irony made my skin crawl. I didn't close my eyes that night. I connected my phone to the hotel Wi-Fi, logged into every shared account we had. Spotify, Amazon, Google. I opened Google Maps and checked her timeline history. Her phone still had location services turned on. The lies were everywhere. She'd never gone to Boston. Not once. She never even boarded a flight. Her path took her from our apartment straight to Denver, with a stop at a liquor store and a flower shop. She was playing house with her ex while telling me she wanted to tour venues for our wedding next month. I opened our shared cloud. Her phone backup was still synced. Sloppy. She probably forgot. I opened her gallery. There were new photos. Ones I'd never seen. Her in his hoodie. Them at a park. A close-up of their hands with matching bracelets. But one video made my stomach flip. She was in a hotel room. Not this house. Not anywhere I recognized. She panned the camera over to him, asleep on the bed, then whispered to the lens. "He's perfect, but I'll always get bored. I don't know why I do this." I paused the video, rewound it, watched it again, and again. That line didn't sound like someone torn. It sounded like someone rehearsing. She knew. She knew she'd do this again. Maybe not with him. Maybe with someone new. But it would happen. I was just one placeholder in a long, rehearsed carousel. I didn't sleep. I didn't cry. I didn't even drink. I just made a folder on my desktop, named it Exit, and started saving everything. Morning light started leaking through the paper-thin hotel curtains, but I hadn't moved from the chair. I was still logged into her Google account, flipping through evidence like a detective in a crime doc no one would believe was real. Everything was syncing. I had access to her drive, her photos, even her voice memos. That's when things started getting stranger. There was a photo of a little girl. Not one I recognized. I figured maybe she was babysitting for someone, but she showed up more than once. Same messy braid, same red jacket. In one picture, the kid was holding my girlfriend's hand. In another, sitting on the lap of her ex, the same guy from the 2:14 a.m. text. The timestamps made my stomach drop. These weren't recent. They went back at least 3 months. I clicked over to her Notes app. It was backed up too. One note, titled Plan A, read like a list of goals. Win over Lily. Birthday gift for Ellie dollhouse. Don't rush it this time. Get rid of the distractions. Distractions. That's what I was. I suddenly realized I wasn't in a love triangle. This wasn't about two guys being played. This was about a woman who wanted a whole new life and had been quietly erasing me from hers for months. She wasn't cheating. She was replacing. And I was the placeholder she was trying to delete without leaving fingerprints. I went back to her texts, searching by number. His name was Owen. She'd been texting him for at least 6 months, messaging apps, voice notes, even Google Chat. She had saved a playlist on Spotify titled For Drives to O. I opened it. The first song? When He Sees Me. Ironic. In a flurry of clicks, I downloaded every file, every screenshot, every photo that showed me the truth. I didn't even feel anything anymore. No anger, no heartbreak, just a kind of quiet, focused numbness. I needed someone else who'd been burned by her. I remembered a party from last year. A boring barbecue with her old college friends. I hadn't known anyone there, but there was one woman who caught my attention, not for how she looked, but for how she stared when my girlfriend introduced me. Like something didn't sit right. Her name was Tasha. I found her Instagram. Still active. I DM'd her. Didn't give details. Just asked, "Hey, did you used to date Owen?" She replied in under 10 minutes. Why? I didn't play coy. I think she's doing the same thing to you that she just did to me. No typing bubble for a minute. Then came her reply. Let's talk. Tonight. We met at a coffee shop near downtown. Tasha was already there when I arrived, sitting by the window with a legal pad open and her phone on record. She wasn't confused. She wasn't surprised. She looked ready. Let me guess, she started. She told you Owen was abusive. Said she'd cut him off for good, but had to keep contact for some vague reason. I nodded. She told me the same thing about you. Said you were a jealous ex who wouldn't let go. My stomach turned. This woman had been her cover story, just like I had been hers. She moved into Owen's house 6 weeks ago, Tasha said. Not officially, but she keeps clothes there. Keeps inserting herself in Ellie's life. Says she's just helping out. I showed her the pictures I found. Tasha showed me screenshots of voice messages. We synced up dates, stories, lies. Everything lined up, like we were uncovering a cult leader's playbook. She wants that kid, Tasha said. That's what this is about. She never cared about either of you. She was right. In one of the synced voice memos I'd found, my girlfriend was whispering, almost like she was practicing a speech. She loves me more than she loves her own mother. I'm not stealing her. I'm rescuing her. It wasn't love. It was delusion. Tasha leaned in. I want her exposed. Publicly. But it has to hurt. I agreed. No yelling. No messages. No half-assed confrontation. It had to be something big. Something impossible to walk away from. So we made a plan. The first step was psychological. We found out the hotel from her earlier videos was a boutique place just outside the city, Aspen Grove Inn. Still in business. I called and pretended to be planning a surprise proposal. I said I wanted to book the same room she had used months earlier under her name. They confirmed the suite. Bingo. We booked it for the weekend. Tasha drove out there and planted a package, an engagement ring box with a fake receipt and a note. The note was handwritten in my exact style, copied from old birthday cards she had saved. Inside the ring box, a USB drive with videos, photos, and a full document outlining the timeline of her double life. The idea was to let her find it, confuse her, make her think we'd been watching the entire time. Let paranoia do the work. She'd start spiraling. We'd make sure of it. The second phase? We created a fake event on Facebook, using one of her burner email accounts we'd recovered. A community celebration, supposedly organized by Owen to introduce his future wife and daughter. We picked the date, made flyers, hired an event space using prepaid gift cards, posted it on local groups where her friends followed Owen. The kicker? Tasha posed as a friend of the family and messaged her directly from a fake profile. Can't wait to see your speech at the shower. We knew she wouldn't be able to resist. Her ego wouldn't let her. Meanwhile, I added one more layer. I sent Owen an anonymous Dropbox link with the same evidence. But I didn't tell Tasha, because I needed one last wild card in the game. And he was it. I didn't sleep the night before the shower. Neither did Tasha. We were in the same city but stayed in separate hotels. Easier to keep everything clean if something went sideways. By morning, everything was ready. Flyers had gone out. The venue was rented. Decorations were up, deliberately tacky and chaotic, like a baby shower being thrown by someone who wanted to show off instead of celebrate. We even had a cake. Tasha ordered it with a single message piped in blue frosting across the top. Welcome to your new life. Hope it's real. The venue was a mid-sized community space in an older neighborhood, one that Owen's ex used to be a part of. That meant his neighbors knew him. Some liked him, and a few were nosy enough to show up. We planted a few fake conversations online in the event thread. Can't wait to meet her. And he deserves happiness after everything. We kept it all ambiguous. No real names. Just vague enough to be real. Then came the best part. We texted her from a burner number. Same area code as Owen's. No greeting. No context. Just this. They're already setting up. You're going to love the speech. We knew she'd take the bait. According to her location history, she was still bouncing between Owen's place and a short-term rental nearby. She hadn't flown back to our city. No messages, no calls to me either. Just total silence, like she figured I'd crawl back once I calmed down. Instead, she was walking into a trap. We arrived at the venue 20 minutes before start time. I brought the laptop and a small speaker setup. Tasha had a portable projector. We didn't even need to test it. Everything had already been loaded. We had 5 videos, 3 screenshots, 1 final document, formatted like a timeline. I stood at the back and watched as guests started to arrive. A few older women. 2 guys in polos with beers in hand. Probably neighbors. 1 woman showed up with a toddler. The kind of random turnout you get when you post a free party with cake and drinks in a public Facebook group. Then she walked in. Hair perfect. Dress carefully casual. She scanned the room like a queen returning to her court. Not a flicker of suspicion. She saw the cake. Smiled. Saw the projector. Tilted her head. Then saw me. Dead center of the room, standing by the laptop. Her face dropped. She didn't run. Not yet. That came later. She tried to act like she knew what was happening. Walked over slowly. Smiled too wide. Said something. I don't remember. I didn't respond. I clicked play. The first video rolled. Her in Owen's kitchen, wearing his hoodie, talking to the little girl. The second video, her whispering into the camera in that hotel room, saying she always gets bored. A few people laughed. One guy whispered, "What the hell?" Then came the screenshots. Her text to both of us. Timestamps overlapped. One message said she was visiting her sick aunt. Same day, same hour. She was texting Owen saying she'd moved her baggage out. The final slide was the timeline. Every lie she'd told. Side by side. In our city and his. Labeled with dates and GPS pings. I didn't say a word. Neither did Tasha. The room was quiet. Embarrassed. Confused. She stood frozen in place like someone just turned her bones to ash. Then she cracked. I don't know what this is. This is fake. You're both sick. She looked at the crowd, desperate for someone to agree. No one did. I didn't need to scream. Didn't need to yell. I just walked up, pulled a chair, and placed a single folder on it. Inside was a printed copy of the same evidence. Then I left. I didn't look back. I heard the sound of the cake falling a few minutes later. Whether she threw it or someone knocked it over, I'll never know. But the smears of frosting on her car later told me enough. I stayed with Tasha that night. Not because we were close. Not because of anything romantic. Just because both of us were now officially done being tools in this woman's game. But it wasn't over yet. Because when I got back to my hotel, I had a message waiting for me. It was from Owen. Just 3 words. What the hell? So I sent him everything. All of it. Full folder. Timeline. Location records. Even the backup voice memos where she talked about resetting Ellie's family and removing obstacles. No threats. No comments. Just the truth. Let the next collapse come from the inside. Owen called me the next day. I didn't pick up. I knew what he wanted. Explanations, maybe apologies, maybe just a target to unload on. But I wasn't giving him that. I had already spent months being the idiot in someone else's story. I wasn't stepping back into the script. Instead, I watched from the outside as it all came apart. Tasha kept me updated. Apparently, after reading the files, Owen kicked her out of the house immediately. No suitcase. No time to talk. Just told her to grab what she could and leave. She tried crying. Tried begging. He slammed the door in her face. But the real storm hit 2 days later. Tasha sent me a photo. It was taken from inside a car across the street. My ex was standing in Owen's front yard, screaming into the intercom camera at his door. Hair disheveled. Makeup ruined. Holding something in her hand. Looked like a bracelet. Probably the one she claimed matched with his daughter. The cops showed up 20 minutes after she shattered one of his flower pots. She left in a squad car. That alone would have been enough. But Owen? He wasn't done. He called Tasha the next day. Wanted to talk. They met in a public cafe. He came alone. Looked wrecked, apparently. Not angry. Just confused. He told her something neither of us expected. A few months ago, after a weird argument about his daughter's cough medicine, my ex had suggested a DNA test. Claimed she was just worried about allergies. But now he was wondering, why would she suggest that? Why would she care so much? Tasha encouraged him to follow his gut. Quietly. Carefully. 3 days later, he did. The results were worse than anything we imagined. The kid wasn't his. Not biologically. He'd been raising her since she was 2, but legally? He had no rights. My ex knew. She found out from the mother, who'd confided in her during one of their bonding sessions. Instead of telling Owen, she used it. Said nothing. Used the child to lock herself deeper into his world, while lying to all of us. When Owen confronted her, she denied it, then snapped again. Threw a glass at his truck windshield in broad daylight. Another arrest. This time with witnesses. The charges? Destruction of property, harassment, and pending civil action, because she had fraudulently used Owen's personal information to sign up for a family therapy program under his name. She'd been crafting an image, building a stepmom narrative online for months. Instagram posts, Facebook photos, hashtags like #blendedlife and #bonusmom. All gone now, accounts deactivated or locked. But the screenshots lived. I still had them. So did Tasha. So did Owen. We didn't speak again, not formally. But I got one final text from him, a week after the second arrest. You saved my daughter. I didn't reply. Didn't need to. I went back to my city the next day. Cleaned out our apartment. She hadn't returned. Her stuff was mostly gone, except for a few boxes in the closet. I didn't touch them. I just left the key on the counter, took one last look around, and walked out. But not before I left something behind. On the bathroom mirror, written in red lipstick, were 5 words. You weren't hard to erase. I don't know where she is now. I've blocked her on everything. She tried emailing me once, a half-assed apology that turned into a rant halfway through. Said I was vindictive, cruel, unforgiving. She was right about one thing. I am unforgiving. Because she didn't just lie. She built a life out of lies. Twisted people's families. Used a child like a prop. Made herself the hero in a story that only ever existed in her head. And if I hadn't gotten that text at 2:14 a.m., I might have married her. I think about that sometimes. How close I came. How fragile trust really is. But mostly, I think about the way she looked when the projector played that first video. The exact second her face cracked, and everyone in that room saw who she really was. That image? Better than closure. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story? It's even worse than this one.